Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of Ambient Talkie, a show where we dive into some weird and wacky equipment and wonderful, call it whatever you want, music. I'm Andy from Two Round Robins, and I hope you're ready for a bit of instant ambient. So, first of all, excuse me for uploading so rarely these days. It's just that life kind of gets in the way, and making these types of videos basically just takes me a lot of time and a lot of effort just setting everything up, especially when we have limited space. So what I decided is that moving forward, I think it's best for me mentally to completely ignore hunting for the algorithm favoritism and focus more on episodes and jams where I do feel a bit more passionate than just going through something that I need to do in order to keep a consistent uploading schedule. So having said that, here is something that I was really happy to try out when I saw it online forum, a new norns script full of wonder and instant magic. So this is odd. So for those that have been following me for some time now, you saw that I get the most enjoyment when a script tries to combine best of both worlds. So like on one side you have a lovely synth from supercollider, and on the other you have your softcut magic, and it's all mixed and intertwined together in a fun and interactive way. So this is what Odd script by Ululo, so I hope that I pronounced that right. It's an amazing mix of a super saw synth engine and buffer mangling magic. Now, the developer already made a great tutorial, which I'm going to link down below. So I thought the best way for us to go through it is to explore with minimum technological mumbo jumbo and just, kind of find interesting and fun ways how this thing interacts. In the meantime, I'll try to explain a bit, but mostly I'll just guide myself per se through this lovely thing that we have here. So first things first, we have the grid, and you're gonna need a grid if you want to use this script. You can have the norns official, probably you can have any other grid that supports it, or that you use MIDI grid or something like that. So you just need a device that will handle this layout here. And speaking of layouts, we have this thing. Now, looking at the developer's own video, he uses the cheat codes 2 type of thing where he or they basically just shift it in a vertical way. But knowing me, and because of my camera setup, I think it's kind of better if I have it on this way, like the landscape horizontal way, such as we have it here. It still makes sense. It's just that I think it's better if I told you that the developer uses kind of a different way of setting things up than I will here. So, use it in whatever way you wish. I just use it like this. But anyways, we have the grid here, and the grid is your main performance area. Basically what you have is that when you boot odd up, so much like this, you can just start mangling it on this side of the grid, and you're gonna hear some noise coming there. So I'm just gonna set it up, and then I'll try to explain what it does, at least how I see it. So on this side, as you can hear, something's already happening. It's pretty lovely. On this side, you have something that's called the envelope generator or the envelope grid. And how I see it, if you go left and bottom, you're gonna get the longer tones. If you're gonna go, and more than you go up to the right, the shorter these get. And you can just create magic just by pressing randomly. So basically what we're doing, we're generating tones based on the envelope that we have given it here. So moving onwards, we have this section here. But I'm gonna talk about this thing here a bit later, because what I wanna focus now is I wanna focus just on the synth part. So like we have the envelopes here, we do have this row here, and this is basically your root node. And it just sounds lovely. So the root node of this section here, you can obviously change it if you go to the parameters menu and change the scale of how you want to have it. But there's also a very nice thing that this script has, and this is this section. And these are the harmonics. And what they do is, basically you can go first harmonic, second harmonic, third harmonic, fourth harmonic, and you can, you know, look it up yourselves in what harmonics are and how they function and all that lovely stuff. But basically you can change it. So let's say I have it on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have it on the 8th harmonic, and then just by changing it, you can hear that it's a bit different. And it sounds so nice. Now I have 2 harmonics, and you can basically use how many ever you wish, and just creates this cacophony of beautiful percussive sound. So it's like a little plucky things that are just moving around. So just like that, you can create lovely soundscapes. And speaking of root nodes here, there's also this little button here where you can create long tones and drony tones. Let me just use a bit of more harmonics so maybe you can hear it a tad better. There you go, they're coming in. And this is one side of this amazing script. It's basically the synth engine sound, which I think is like a super soft filter or something like that. I don't know. I'll link the GitHub at the bottom there, and you can look in your own ways. So yeah, but you know, doing like this, and since I mentioned synth and since I mentioned the magic of mixing the two worlds of Norn's internal workings, there's another good part in this script, and that is the softcut. Now, what this script does is basically whatever you do regarding in the synth time, it throws it into two buffers, so for your left and right, so like it's a little stereo buffer for both signals, and it constantly records it for 22 seconds. And the manipulation for that is basically set through the use of the mutators, which are these rows here. So each of the row is one or the other buffer. And how you set it up, it's up to you. But how I understand it is basically the speed of the buffer is connected to whatever interval. So let's say for unison, and because it's such a long tape and such a long buffer, you might not notice it right away. But this is basically, as you can see, we have on unison. But if we go this and listening in the background, we're gonna hear the octave up. And this is basically so I'm using unison and I'm using second, third, fourth, fifth for the octave up. If we want to go octave down, I think we need to use this thing here. And if you have it like that, you have multiple of these intervals of the softcut opened up, meaning that they shine through the grid, basically it will pick randomly which of these not buffers, but which of these speeds is gonna use. And with this, you can then create a little cacophony of different things. And once you try to understand like how the inner workings of the script operate, it will become more understood to you in a way that, you just don't get lost too much by clicking random points on the envelope grid. But the good thing here is that even if you don't mess up with anything, just playing around this, listening to the beautiful plucks of this engine here, just, throwing itself into the softcut, at times can be enough. And of course, the mutators have different ways how they function. Usually, if we go to the parameters menu here, you can see we have the loop setting, and I'll talk that a bit later. But what I want to focus on now is the mutator setting. So you have mutator 1, mutator 2, and setting of the levels. So let's just, for the sake of it, try moving this so they're kind of the same. And then you have chances. So chances for arrest, meaning that they don't play, and chances of them being reversed. And you can, maybe we want to have, so all the, you can hear how the slew operates there. And of course you have the slew, which is 12 seconds. I like to put this to somewhere around 4. And you can see the loop duration here. Now loop duration is for the whole tape. So we have the 20 seconds, 20 seconds. But if we go here, we can change that easily by pressing. So loop start, loop end. And now loop is basically shortened to whatever you wish. And so easily you can get lost in the whole thing. And at times, what I want to do is, because like the tape length is so long, what I want to do is just I would press very few tones that would generate, and then I'll leave it to softcut to do its magic. And speaking of softcut and speaking of parameters, if we go around here and we see this mutator settings, and I'll try to move it back here to, let's say, 50 or 60, we also have the discombulator settings. So what does this do? Well, there's a little hidden row that's over here. You can see it. And the more I press, the more of these that I open up, what will happen is that softcut would start randomizing with amplitude and with time. And it will become a bit more what's the word? Randomized. You can hear how it's moving in the background. It's like creating this weird worm-like effects. Ooh, I think I'm clipping over here, so I'm just gonna whoa. And this happens if you use this a bit too much. So now by pressing K1, I reset the loop duration, and as you can hear, it's creating. Well, it's not creating. I think it's dying in the background, but it is fun. Now that we have this working in the background, maybe we can try a few more. So now we're using just the unison of the softcut. Maybe I'll use. There we go. So, problem is that with norn scripts, they're so fun, but you can create chaos so easily. So let's see if we open it up a bit more. And speaking of softcut, there's another cool thing. So we have also functions that are not just connected to whatever you're playing on grid, but if you go to the screen and to the norns functions, there are a few different ways. So let's say, for example, if we create more of this, we can change the filters. So this is basically the softcut filter and the Q. You can see that the wider the circle is, the more it's filtered or more cutoff there is, while this lines here and the thickness is basically your Q. And what I love to do is, and this is my favorite part, is basically creating something like this. So we'll put more longer envelopes of plugs, and then we'll change the speed of the buffers. And create a little weird atmosphere. And just like that, maybe we can open up the and then maybe add a bit of, and now it just creates this chaos that's hidden in the softcut buffers, because we're not using any of the synths now, right? Just throw it in, and with this we get instant ambient. We have created something with very little effort, just by using norns and just by using this particularly beautiful script. So all hands up to all thumbs up to Ululo, a great developer as I see it. So yeah, thanks to the developer for creating this, but also, you know what, thanks to you guys, because you stick with me going through this, whatever this is it a tutorial? I don't know, but anyways, do check out Ululo's channel and his own tutorial, as well as his GitHub. If you have norns, if you have grid, give this one a try. You're not going to be disappointed, I think. and I'll link it all down below, so you don't need to go far. If you like this type of content, be sure to sub, although I'm not uploading as regularly as I did. You still might find it entertaining, nice, and a good way to spend your Sunday evening if you're not feeling particularly inspired to boot up your synthesizers. If you want to go the extra mile, you can buy my music off of Bandcamp. You can, become a Patreon, get a bit more of free sample libraries from me. And it's a win-win situation. But most importantly, and this is very, very important, have a lovely rest of your evening, morning, afternoon, whenever you might be watching. And take care.